certain services. Like, why don't we have a health center, a level 4 hospital in Mathia? Why don't we have a stadium for our youth to exercise? Those are the things that our MP should be doing, not just going to bed with the executive. That is an insult to us.
Yes, when we come back from this break, I would want to know who your MP is and whether he has been serving that purpose for the last period of time that he has been in office, as well as getting your opinion on those two questions. All that will be happening after this short commercial break. I'll see you then. Welcome back to the Hotspot segment of the morning dew. My guests today are Bwana Wambugu Murugu to my right and Bwana Oscar to my left. Now, Bwana Oscar.
Yes.
Before we went on break, sorry, we were still on you, Bwana WM.
Yeah.
So is your current MP serving his duties of keeping the government in check, as you said?
To some extent he is, to some extent he's not. Yeah.
Is that all you're willing to say about that?
For now. For now?
Alright.
Yeah.
Well, to you, Bwana Oscar.
Yes.
The same question. Our leaders, through their campaign talks, they seem to be very, very familiar with the problems that we are facing. So why is it then that these problems keep on coming back time after time without a solution?
Okay, I'll say 2 points. One, in African setup, politicians, their aim is to make us poor so that we are governable. And if we have those, they are familiar with our problems, but they don't want to solve them so that you can continue kneeling down. You can continue asking them for help. That's the main reason. Because you have a difference between a politician and a leader. A leader can be a politician, but a politician cannot be a leader. In this way, politicians, they are there to owe voters, to have followers and have command. But leaders are there to make their followers leaders and to mentor them. That's the difference. So leaders can use their politics to owe for votes so that they can have, they can get to parliament or get to any position that we have, and afterwards they can continue to solve the problems of their Kenyans. Because when you make your leader, your followers leaders, it means that you are creating a platform of solutions. Because if you have a leader, you reason together, now you are able to come up with a solution. And when you get a leader who is commanding or who is mentoring another leader, it means that he want to call her to have a bunge of knowing what Mwananchi is experiencing. So from that platform, from that pool of those issues, you're able now to come up with the solutions. Number two, in African setup, and I can say, by the way, in Kenya, we want to have hit and run solutions. Hit and run, I say, we don't want to do the solutions which are sustainable. For example, if, for example, like we have an issue of fuel shortage in the country or in the world. All of us knew, like the president signed about the caution money. He signed it yesterday, but I heard it was debated 3 weeks ago about the fund. It was debated, but this was being done, awaiting the fuel shortage to happen. At the same time, it was not only the signing the caution or paying the marketers. We could also have what are other sources of where can we get oil apart from going to Ukraine or Russia or any other country. Can we have other African countries which are producing oil where we can also get our oil from? Can we have enough oil reserves in Kenya so that we can we can also solve this problem of fuel shortage? When we come to other issues like employment, we had some good agendas by the president, big 4 agendas. We had the pillar of manufacturing. He was talking about manufacturing. If we could have in every manufacturing factory in every county or in every ward, because we have those issues in every ward, we could have now minimized those people who are unemployed. We could have employed them. But the challenge is we want also to continue begging from our leaders so that at least they can remain relevant. That's the main challenge. We want hit and run solution. At the same time, the other point, my final point is
yes,
that we have many free services in our country, and when Kenyans always need free services, it means now it is a way of now looting public money, because our leaders, they are not accountable. For example, maybe we have an HIF, it is free. Maybe we are told we have it is not free, we are paying, but we are being there are some leaders who are telling us it will be free. And then before we were told about universal health care, where it will be free. When we have many free things, it means our taxes will be high, and this means our funds will continue to be looted.
So
it will be appropriated.
There's really nothing such as free service in Kenya from the government.
There is no free service. You know, when you're talking it is free, you got taxes. Like for example, yesterday was enlightened by Wambugu. I can say he enlightened me, telling me about the taxes we have in fuel. And when I was doing research, there are 9 of them, 9 different types of taxes. So it means before you get that oil, it is taxed. In fact, I got there's the one type of tax is called petrol development levy. We have other one about the whatever. So what I'm saying, when you are given free gift, the other side there is something else that is being done. So those are the challenges that we continue to persist in our country, because we want free things. At the same time, our leaders will give us hit and run solutions. At the same time, our politicians always make us poor to be governable.
Yes, and the same question I posed to Bono Wambugu before we went on break. Is there an avenue for Kenyans to keep the government in check as far as the promises made to them over the campaign period are concerned?
The only way that they can keep the government on check is by them voting good leaders to represent their interest. If you continue voting bad leaders, you continue having much problems. You evaluate which kind of leader you are voting in, because all of us, we cannot go to parliament. We have our representative in parliament. In our constituencies, we have MPs. In our counties, we have women rep. And at the same time, we have senators who keep who do oversight. These are the same people who go to parliament to represent our interest. We have a platform in parliament where they summon each and every CS in every docket. We have our Katiba gives us like maybe at most 22 cabinet secretaries. Having those cabinet secretaries, they are representing every docket that we need in this country, and every promise follows in a certain docket. When you talk of insurance, maybe livestock, maybe the Ministry of Livestock, the Raila Odinga talked about that. When now the cabinet secretary is summoned in the parliament, we need to ask that question: if our MPs are using common sense. Because the challenge is, if these people are bribed by maybe the executive and they are told to say this or to say that, it means now you are not giving, you are not doing check to our government or the promises that were promised during campaigns. And that's why I'm saying everything, the sole solution is lying with Wachiko, or common mwananchi, voting good leaders. Yeah.
Now, Bono Murugu, let me turn to you with this. Based on what Bono Oscar is saying, that we have to vote in good leaders.
Yeah.
But then, how do we identify good leaders? Because this is the time, the campaign period. This is the time when our leaders clothe themselves in, metaphorically gold covering to make them seem as appealing to us as possible.
Yeah.
And 2, what is the extent of our democracy if some of the leaders that we are supposed to vote in, some of the leaders that we would consider to be good, are locked out of the ballot box because of party primaries such as these ones that hold opinion polls, and then they give a direct ticket to whichever candidate is popular?
Well, thank you very much, Kelvin. And I think today it's a good day because the discussion is very informative, and I think I'm running awesome. To my
by that, do you mean you're running for an elective position?
No, you're
okay, yeah, I get it.
Have a problem.
My apologies.
From where we come from, have a problem with RNL. You know, Moses Kuria said that they were doing what the votes, and you know what he said. But to come to what you asked me, it's about the good readers. Good reader, and a good reader is he who understands the problem of his people, and he's in a position, or he is willing, or she is willing to give a solution to those problems. And the best way for our voters to know the best reader is to one, identify those people. You know, you have to identify those people who want to run for a certain position. After identify those people who want to run for a certain position, because we have a problem in this country. We have been to those polling stations, and you hear people asking others, who are we voting? That's where the problem starts. We need to know as voters who is seeking a certain position, who is seeking to be Madhya MP, who is seeking to be Muranga governor. First of all, we know it is Kebi Getora want to be the senator of Muranga. It is John Yoto. It is Jamre Kama want to be Muranga governor. It is Kangata want to be Muranga governor. Then after knowing who want to be the governor, we evaluate them from the past experience. What did they do? If this reader was given a certain position in the public, either in the church, either in the government, either in the private sector, what did he or she do? We know each and every reader's capacity and weaknesses. Then after knowing their weaknesses and their strength, we compare each, and then we pick the best. I want to tell our voters and our listeners, we get it wrong when we allow the political class set the pace. You know, when we allow the political class to set the pace, in this case, they tell us we need 6 Ps. That's what they told us the last time. Now they are telling us we need to vote out a certain group of people, those who have been incumbent or those who have been on a certain side of the political divider. That's why we get it wrong, because maybe my MP is on that political divide because my area needs the ideology of that side. But now we are being told by, like today, we have the side of Ruto and the side of Raila Odinga. I think they are the dominant. So the side of William Ruto is telling they are telling us, don't vote those people who are affiliated to the Odinga side as MPs. And Odinga side is telling us, don't vote those who are affiliated to William Ruto side. And maybe they are affiliated to those sides because they identify with the ideologies of those sides. And our areas resonate with the ideologies of those sides. Maybe, like today, my MP in Madhya may be supporting BBI because BBI is likely to benefit, or will benefit, Madhya constituency in Kangima. And maybe Kiharu MP may not resonate with that side because Kiharu is not likely to benefit. So what are we supposed to do? I'm supposed to vote for my MP who is identifying our challenges and finding the solution where we can find the solution. So I need to vote for that MP who identify my problem and find the way to solve it. I need not to compare with Kiharu. Maybe our problem in Madhya may be, to some extent, may be different for those in Kiharu. So what am I telling our people? Vote for leaders who identify your problem and find a solution to it. Yeah, let's not vote for sides or 6 pieces or whatever. Let's vote for individuals who identify our problem, are in a position to solve them. The other thing we need to have are leaders who can be able to articulate our issues, because some of them identify, some of them know where to find the solution, but they cannot articulate them. If you vote for an MP who cannot stand or lobby something in parliament, you are likely to continue crying and even saying, I wish I knew. Let's evaluate them. Are they in a position to lobby for something? Are they in a position to articulate issues? Because in parliament, every MP is fighting for scarce resources. You know, the resources are very scarce. And for Madhya to be given certain amount of money or certain development, my MP need to be aggressive, need to be proactive. He need to identify the channel to get that money, and he need to go there ahead of other MPs. The same in parliament. He need to stand, or to the way Oscar said that, he need to summon certain MP, a certain CS. If it is the issue of roads, like now we have the issue of Wambugu, it's a good project. But if if the Mamo project will not be completed before rain, we shall have a problem. My MP need to go to Parliament. He need to summon the CS in charge of transport and ask him, what are you doing to ensure that the Mamo road does not affect transport in my constituency? That's what we need to do. That's what our MP need to do. They need to lobby and they need to articulate those issues in Parliament. Otherwise, we vote for 6-piece issue. We need to vote for our person. We shall continue suffering.
So you're also calling for the separation of an individual who is standing for a certain position in leadership, the separation of that individual from the party that they're standing with.
Yeah, they need to separate, because there is no single day I from Adhia, Kil Ward and Kairo Kishak, I will never, even a single day, go to Jubilee House or to UD House to seek for development. I'll go to my MP. If I voted my MP because he is from a certain political party, not because of his capacity, I'm likely to suffer. So we need to separate those two things, because they are totally different. A party is just a vehicle to take him to Parliament.
Indeed.
And after taking him to Parliament, that's all.
I have heard that reiterated here a number of times. Now, Oscar, you're the one who got us to this point. So how would you say Kenyans should identify good leaders?
Okay, you know, one, and that we need, first of all, to look at the track record of a leader. And this is simply whatever Wambugu has said, that we need to know whatever you have done in public service and also maybe in private. We need to understand what have you been doing. At the same time, have you been on the ground with the Mwananchi? Is it that you are giving us the promises? Where have you been in those years before election? Where have you been? Because wherever you have been before election, that's where you go after election. So you must think about, where has this man been, where has this woman been before he comes to tell us what he wants to do for us. Two, we need to look at a man and a person with a vision. You know, maybe for example MCA, we have MCA going for a certain that position in a certain ward. What is your intention? Where can you tell us about maybe I come from Biri? Where can you tell about where you see Biri in the next 10 years? Because the challenge we have, our leaders don't have a blueprint. They cannot tell us wherever they want to take this constituency, this county, our country, Kenya, where we want to see this. It is only now Mwai Kibaki who told us that in Vision 2030, and all of us, we are working toward that. But when you look at the leaders who are vying, maybe the president, from the president to bottom, there is no one single person who is telling us maybe in Vision 2030, how shall we realize this? It is about propaganda. That's about propaganda. Someone is telling us, mtu anavabia mambo ya, maybe for example, you are telling us about inaitwa 6K to sijui Sigo, sijui whatever, every Kenyan. Where is this in the Vision 2030? We don't know about that Vision 2030. Maybe for example, you are told about maybe Mama Boga on the other side. Now the question is, can we see the Mama Boga in that Vision 2030? So we must now realign our manifesto to the Vision 2030 that we have, that which was set as the blueprint. Then the other thing is, it is someone who identifies with your problems, with your issues. Maybe when you are voting a certain MP, does he understand, really understand what you are going through as a constituency? And at the same time, does he know the priorities that are needed in that? For example, maybe when we come to Kiharu, what do we need? Do we need the tiles, or we need bursaries? You know, that's a question that you should ask ourselves. Do we need in Kiharu, do we need water, or we need the tanks? Because we have our Matagi who is doing that. Maybe that's the question that we need to ask ourselves. What do we need? If now Kenyans ask themselves what they need, now they are able now to choose a leader. Because if you don't know what you need, it means now you do anything. Any road will take you there. So we must understand whatever you need as Kenyans. And at the same time, we should differentiate between a party and a person. apart, maybe there's some people who are saying, when you elect this party, this is what you are doing. When you elect this party, tutafanya hivi. But the question is it the party which will be answerable? When you get the people going to Senate like governors, who is answerable? It is the governor. Who is answerable in parliament, in constituency? It is the MP, the MCA, it is whatever. So the question is, now, who is this person who will be answerable? So if we think of a certain leader, think of him as an individual. Don't think of him as the party he is in.
Yes.
Yeah.
When we come back from the short commercial break that we'll be taking in a while, I would want to know your opinion on whether these bodies that have been put in place to hold opinion polls, and the ones that have been seen to give these parties the numbers to, give members of these parties direct tickets, if those bodies that conduct those polls are credible, and if they can be trusted to represent the interest of the Kenyans as far as these leaders are concerned. But that will be coming back after after this short break. For now though, let me tell morning dew. This is of course the Hotspot segment. Thank you so much for staying with us. Now Wambugu,
yes,
there's a question you did not answer me. How credible are these bodies that conduct the polls that determine which candidates get direct tickets in which regions?
I think they're as credible as the person occupies the leadership positions decide to. But I think to some extent they do good job. To some extent they favor some say that maybe sponsor them, because this body depend on individuals or some partners to sponsor them. So to some regions they do a good job. They say a certain leader Oscar is popular in Biri and he is popular in Biri. But sometimes they may say Oscar is popular in internship, but it is because Oscar paid them to say so. So I think these bodies need to be evaluated well. They need not to be taken as the gospel truth. They need also to have another way of verifying what they are telling the parties, because some parties assign certain groups to do a certain survey on certain individuals. Like they say, we don't want to go for nomination in Mombasa. We need Synovate or any other body to go and do a poll in Mombasa. And after doing the poll, we are going to give the person who is identified by this poll as the best the ticket. So I think to some extent it's a good thing. To some extent it is going to cost some parties, because they may recommend a certain person who at a certain time he was popular, but as time goes by that person is no longer popular. That's something that is likely to affect the voting pattern. So I think, as I said, it is as credible as the readership decides it to be. But its correctness, I don't think they are very accurate. I don't think. Yeah.
Well then, what then is the impact of having these bodies conduct these polls to the democracy of our country?
They interfere with the democracy, because when they say certain person is popular, some people who have not decided may decide to vote for that person. Therefore they interfere with our democracy. Our democracy is why we say that every person is supposed to make his or her own decision without no influence or coercion. Now when they say Oscar is popular in Biri and I was not decided, I may say, because they said Oscar is popular, I'll vote for Oscar. So they interfere with my democracy. So I think I can say to some extent they interfere.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, but Oscar,
yes.
What is the credibility, in your opinion? Are these bodies really credible?
When we are studying statistics, there are some certain factors you are supposed to look at when you are giving maybe a statistic of a certain area. And now we don't know the sample size that they work on when they are giving their results, because you cannot tell us maybe like a township we have maybe 25,000 voters, and maybe you interviewed 2,000 voters, and then you give the credible results. Or maybe you cannot have maybe like Nairobi Metropolitan, then maybe they have a number of voters who are there, maybe like 2 million or 1 million or 3 million, and then you tell us you interviewed 5,000, and then that sample size represent the views of those other people. So it means in a certain way, in some cases they are credible, but in most cases where I say they are not credible is because where are they the other times? It is only during campaign season that you are hearing from them telling us whatever. Why don't they tell us maybe the rate at which a certain MP is working? Because and at the same time, for example, there was a time that we heard of these awards from a certain, I don't know which it was called, or whatever. They were giving us who has performed well. And at the same time, when you look at those people who are told they have performed, yes, somehow they have performed, but some propaganda which has melted upon. So I'm saying it is upon who sponsor them. And maybe at the same time, maybe they had written a proposal, and they need the proposal to be approved. They need now, first of all, to approve him as the popular person. Yeah. So I don't know. I don't think they are credible. Because if they conducted, I had they conducted, for example, in Muranga Township. That's where I live, but I was not asked. I was not interviewed.
You didn't see them.
I didn't say them. I work in town. Who was interviewed? If they are supposed to interview business people, I could be interviewed. I never had even my wife was interviewed. I never had even a close cousin interviewed. Wambugu was interviewed. He live in town. So that's what I'm saying. The credibility. That's what I'm saying. The sample size.
Is it the case of do you know someone who knows someone who knows someone
that
who was interviewed?
Yes. I have not heard of. So it is a matter of who you are talking of, who is popular. You know, I could say this, connecting whatever you are saying about democracy. I could say this. Now, if the party want to make decisions, let them say there are people on the ground. If you want to know who is popular on the ground, if they really want to give a direct ticket to a certain person, let them come on the ground and then know who is this person who is credible, who is this person who can lead. At the same time, and this is what I'm saying, if, for example, someone is popular, he might be popular because someone of Minyonyo. It is not someone he might be popular because of dramas that he's talking about, but he's not a person who can do development. So that's what I'm saying. The party should come on the ground and understand the patterns of this popularity. And how has this person can do. Will he deliver the promise that we promised Kenyans? And this will interfere in our democracy in one way, and that maybe it will make Kenyans not to be patriotic to their country. In this way, you're supposed to be responsible and vote a responsible leader. And when maybe you are there waiting for Sinovate or Infotract or any other opinion polls to give you who is best or who has more popularity, it means that you don't love your country. Because if you love your country, you vote the best leader. And this is what we are saying, the problems will continue to persist in our country. Because if you continue voting the same leaders, we continue getting the same results. Yeah.
All right.
I think what Oscar is trying to say, I try to get it. He's telling us, don't vote someone because he or she is popular. Vote for that person you feel he or she can do something. No matter how he or her popularity is, vote for him or her. I think that is what he's saying. I think we are going to try and implement that. And also,
in the coming elections.
In the next coming election, I try to do it, and I think our viewers should do that. I think that's something we should take home. But also, on that, Sinovates or those polls, they also interfere with our after elections behavior. You are told Oscar is popular in Biri, and I want to use him, and I think I have no offense of using him. We were told Oscar is popular in Biri. And after elections, we found out Oscar was not the one who was declared the winner. You know, we were prepared to celebrate Oscar as the next MC of Bidi. But now we are told someone else is popular. Joshua is the MCA. Now we are triggered to ask, why is it not Oscar? To some extent, they fuel violence. That's what I want to say. These polls fuel violence. They prepare people to celebrate, but other than celebrating, they turn out to demand for celebration. So I think if they are not looked at, they will feel violence, as they did in 2007. You know, in 2007, one of those reasons made people to go to demonstrations is because the polls were saying Raila is popular, but now the electoral body declares Kibaki is the winner. Now the voters go out to demand for Raila's victory as a result of the polls. So we need to keep them on check.
Yes, and while we're still on the topic of after the elections behavior, do you think the government is doing everything in its power to deal with the cases that could spark post-election violence, such as the recent stoning of Honorable Raila Odinga's helicopter?
I think we are yet to see the seriousness that we need to see from the side of the government, because when you see something happened somewhere, it is repeated somewhere, I think people are yet to learn. Simply because the government has not shown the seriousness it should have shown. The issue of stoning of Raila Odinga chopper is something that we need to condemn. It is no one of sound mind should recommend such a thing to even the worst enemy. I would not wish my worst enemy to be stoned or to be thrown stones or to be insulted. But at the same time, we need to get down to the perpetrators of this thing. We need to know who organized this, the real organizer, not the suspected one, because to some extent we suspect that it is the opponent who did that, whereas it is the same person who was attacked. The inside job, they do it for simple votes. You know, politicians can do anything to gain popularity or to gain sympathy. And in politics we say nothing happened by a coincidence. There must be someone who organized something to happen, because you cannot tell me I came from my home, Oscar came from his home, you came from your home, then we met somewhere, and just from nowhere we started throwing stones. Who surprised us with stones? You know, there must be someone who surprised us with stones. Because tell me how on a field and there are stones. Someone surprised us with stones. So we need to know the organizers of these things. Is it the opponent or is it someone who want to gain sympathy? That's what we need to get down to these things. Two, I want to tell my fellow youths, don't allow yourself to be drawn to these things. They will interfere with your future. You know, those people who are the suspects,
yes,
who are
17 of them.
the 17 of them, whether they will be convicted or not, their future will not be the same again. Because their CV have been tainted. You know, we are living in an era where everything is out there in the public domain. We have their photos. If that person will go to seek for an employment somewhere, and as the interviewer is reading his or her CV, and he found out he come from a certain area, and he asked him or her, you come from the area that they stoned the chopper, and later on they find out he's one of them. Now he will be disqualified. So, fellow youths, if you want to succeed in this life, stay away from violence, stay away from stoning or such things, insults or whatever. Not only physical, even the social media way, it will taint your future. And that person you claim to fight for will not be there to fight for you. So be an independent person, be a sober person. Let's not do things that will interfere with our future.
Yes, and
violence will not pay. It will discredit you.
Yes, and especially with the recent directive that everyone who is applying for an employment position has to come with a certificate of good conduct cleared by the DCI. I think if any one of you were to engage in any criminal activities, then it will make it very, very difficult in future for you to get a job. So our dear youth, again, kindly steer away from such violence, especially during this political period. Now, Bon Oscar,
Yes.
do you believe that the government is doing everything in its power to, reduce the possibility of violence breaking out after August 9th?
We can say they are not doing everything, and because we have had some cases. We have cases in Jacaranda, we have cases in, for example, the recent University issue, and what I can say, and first of all, to condemn those people who were involved in that scenario in University issue in strongest terms possible. Our democracy have grown. It is not now the time of throwing stone to anyone, and everyone, we are part of this country. Where you are in Wasinigishu, where in Mombasa, wherever in Isiolo, all of us, we are part of this country. And you can campaign in every part of this country. We should remain brothers and sisters. And also, that's why I'm saying the spirit of patriotism is not with us. We are not loyal to our country. Because if you are loyal to your country, first of all, be loyal to your fellow citizen. First of all, have that brotherhood with your fellow citizen. At least so that we can move from one step to another. Because it is not a time now, for example, when Kevin, you go now to Kisumu, you are stoned. Now, it is not about now faith. If it's not about now a matter of life or of death, going to a certain region, all of us, we belong to Kenya and you are going nowhere. So what I'm saying, there should be no segmentation in a certain in dealing with culprits. Every culprit be taken to court and brought to book. Everything that someone has done, when they are found guilty, let them be convicted. Let them be fined. Let them be penalized for whatever reason they have done. And don't have a politician, because the challenge we have, if we have a problem in this country, it is a politician. Because these are the same people who go and maybe to say, stones you need to don't need to be surprised. Just know to take. The challenge is whoever planned.
Someone might have surprised it.
How can you surprise stone? Okay. So they needed Darugo to stone Raila Odinga chopper. So what I'm saying, that in this country, if the people who have harmed our country is the politician. Because there are some people who come and tell us that is our enemy. That is our enemy. But they are friends. They sit down, eat together, dine together. The challenge is now, Kenyans, we voters, we just listen and follow because we are not independent thinkers. We just do whatever they tell us. And I can tell even young people, be someone who decide for his own, for yourself. Just do something that you know you can be accountable. Because if you do something which you are not accountable, it means you are the one to regret afterwards. And that's what I'm saying. In this country, the politician should differentiate between criminals and leaders. Because criminalizing every activity, doing everything because your competitor is there, you go and then fight some goons and go and stone that person. It is not good. So to answer your question, I'm saying Kenyan government has not done what is supposed to be done to bring all this culprit to book. Because if I could say that all of us should condemn all activities, like it was condemned about the issue of it was called in Nairobi of this motorist, whatever they did to that the border. If all of us we could come to consensus in demonizing those crimes or those activities, I believe we could now going to the best of doing the best of this country. Because when it is taga, maybe you're in a shop. When it is maybe the other one, it is very serious. When it is this one, it is not serious. So whatever I'm saying, the DCI, the office of all those offices we are supposed to do that work, they should be serious on dealing with those crimes. Yeah.
Yes, indeed. Thank you very much. Now, we have run out of time, unfortunately, because I would want us to keep on talking about having this conversation, especially on the issue of peace, but then time is gone. So kindly, Bwana Oscar, your final submissions, briefly, please.
As I always say, I would tell my fellow Kenyans that this country remains to be our country. We are going nowhere. So whether you are in northeastern, western, eastern, central, or even coast, all of us, we are part of this country. And let not leaders tell you to stone your fellow brother. That person will remain your fellow brother, will remain your colleague, will remain your business person, will remain your boss. So whatever you do it knowing that that person is your fellow brother. Let's keep peace. Let's vote wisely. Vote the leaders that you know that they are going to move this country to the next level. Don't vote a leader because he bribed you, he gave you handout. Vote a leader who has a development agenda. Thank you so much and God bless you.
Thank you, Bwana Oscar. Bwana Murugu.
Thank you very much, Kelvin, for hosting us, and thank you, Oscar, for being part of this show. It was a good one. It was very informative. Also, I want to tell our viewers and also our youths, if you don't like someone's agenda, stay away from his campaigns or his rallies. Don't throw stones. Also, to our voters and our listeners, let's vote for individuals who are likely to change our status quo. We need to vote people who can be able to lobby for our project in our areas. We need people who can articulate our issues both in parliament and even in the executive. We don't need people who will keep on calling for press conferences to air out our grievances where they should do it in parliament or in cabinet. So we need to vote people who are not taking advantage of our problem. We don't need populists. We need leaders who can be able to solve the problem for the future of this country. This country needs leaders. We don't need politicians who are taking advantage of our issues because they are driving on our problem when we are suffering. So Kenyans, vote for leaders, don't vote for political parties. Political parties will never be accountable to you. Only that leader will be accountable to you. Political parties will not bring development to your doorstep. Only a leader will do that. Political parties will not lobby for you and will not lobby for that road in your rural area. Only a leader can do that. If you vote for a party, the party will only be correcting the amount reduced from the MPs, but you'll be suffering. Why do that? Vote for an individual. Thank you, Kelvin.
Thank you very much, gentlemen, for your time this morning. Thank you so much, our viewers, for keeping us company.
You are watching DAESAK TV, the Cradle of Goodness.